The birds of French Polynesia.
For many people, birds are the little birds in our gardens or the species that we sometimes see in the distance. Were these birds around in ancient times? Were there other species then? How did Polynesians consider them?
In the past, before the arrival of men, birds were already living in our islands. But because of predators, like the Polynesian rats, pigs and dogs that came along with the navigators, many species of birds vanished. Later, with the arrival of sheep rats, cats, cattle, and new predatory birds, a massive new wave of bird extinction occurred. Also, there was bird hunting for ornamental and alimentary purposes. The eggs, babies and adults of some species, especially those of large sizes, were appreciated as sources of proteins. As for the feathers, they were part of the major components of outfits for high priests. There were also dress ornaments for warriors and chiefs. Some feathers had great value, like red feathers, and were very sought after because it was then believed that feathers had the capacity to absorb and store the power of the gods, the mana. Birds occupied a very important role in other aspects of the Polynesians' daily life, such as fishing and navigation. By observing birds offshore, navigators knew where they could find schools of fish. They could also determine the approximate position and distance of an island that was very close but not yet visible to them.
What about nowadays? Nowadays, seabirds remain quite well known among fishermen in order to locate schools of fish. But on the other hand, to locate an island, navigation instruments have replaced seabirds. Feathers are now only used in show costumes, but as they have become rare, they're now often replaced by artificial feathers that are easier to obtain. To many people, ground bird species seems reduced to introduced species that we easily come across every day. Some of these introduced species have a disastrous effect on native birds, and the regulation of French Polynesia authorizes the destruction of these species. As they prey on their eggs and their babies, abandoned dogs and cats are also a serious threat to native birds. But the sheep rat is the main cause of the disappearance of native birds. As a consequence, the island of Uahuka has placed a series of traps on the port of Vaipae'e. Uahuka, as a matter of fact, holds the last viable population of Marquesan lorikeets named Pihiti. The island of Rimatara, which holds the only population of Coul's lorikeets in French Polynesia, is also spared from the rodent's presence. For this wonderful parakeet not to disappear as well, the island must by all means possible remain protected from rat invasion. Predators are not the only dangers for birds. Urbanization provokes their disappearance or their fleeing toward the island's interior, on smaller and smaller sites where vegetal pests are threatening them. To this day, operations are being carried out to save our birdlife heritage. In the Marquesan archipelago, thanks to the Ornithological Society of Polynesia, MANU, imperial pigeons have been captured in Nukuhiva in order to recreate Uahuka Island's extinct population. This project has succeeded. In the Austral Islands, 27 Coul's lorikeets have been taken away to Rimatara. to recreate the population of Atiu in the Cook Islands, where they had completely disappeared. In some islands, men respect and protect the places where seabird colonies have settled, as these birds' reproduction is very dependent upon their living environment. In Uahuka, the eggs of the most important colony of sooty tern are only taken on municipal decision. Remember,
In the past, before contact with humans, bird biodiversity in our islands was rich with native species. But with the arrival of man and the arrival of all kinds of predators along with it, many birds have vanished. In the past, birds were very important for Polynesians. Some species were hunted for alimentary or ornamental purposes. Others were useful for fishing or navigation. They were also valuable on a spiritual and political level. Chiefs' garments were decorated with feathers, as it was then thought that they held within them the power of gods, the mana. Today, we don't know our birds anymore. Only seabirds remain known by fishermen. Our birds are tremendously threatened by modernity and our negligence. Let us preserve their habitat and let us act together for their protection. Question: Our birds participate in the balance of our natural environment. Do you know how? Enjoy the search for the answer.